the biggest entrepreneur platform on the planet. This is Business Rockstars.
This is Business Rockstars. I'm Mark Lack, and joining us is a special guest, as always. Today we have Mike Chu in the house. He's the founder and CEO of a company called Champ Dev. Pleasure to have you on the show, brother.
Excited to be here, man.
So tell us, what exactly is Champ Dev? What does your company do?
Yeah, so we help coaches, entrepreneurs, fitness professionals. We show them what the top 1% of coaches are doing to get paying clients to then stay with them and build a business that's built to last.
Got it. So who's the exact type of audience? Because I know coaches is pretty broad and people may not know what Fit Pros means.
Yeah, well, I got into coaching myself and I built my own peak performance coaching business to 7 figures. And so that's kind of how the whole thing...
Which is over $1 million a year.
Yeah, and we were specializing in working with sales leaders, entrepreneurs, et cetera. And so what ended up happening is we took the systems that we were already using to stand out and like create authority in what you probably already know is a pretty crowded marketplace. The coaching course expert space,
Right.
But then social media in general feels really, really crowded. So we work with health professionals, personal trainers, sales professionals, real estate investors, really anybody with like an expert niche or a passion to teach or serve other people. We help them take their message and actually stand out as an authority, with really quick authority in their audience.
So it sounds like you said and alluded to, it's a crowded space.
Yeah.
A lot of people are doing it, especially with now. I mean, I feel like the world has gone more digital and there's more opportunities for people to make money, whether it's part-time, full-time, and all the different industries and niches that you mentioned.
Sure.
So if standing out is one of the things you help people with, what are some of the other common problems that you guys are actually helping them with in addition to standing out? And then maybe we'll get into some tactical things people can actually do.
Yeah, well, for me personally, one of the things I found is a lot of people realize you can make money online.
Yeah.
Right, and
from home or with a laptop, or even just a phone.
Yeah, it's easy. There's flexibility. You can do it from anywhere. So it attracts a lot of people to want to try and make money online. But what ended up happening, I found at least, is a lot of times the true experts weren't always the ones like making money at first. Mm-hmm. For me personally, I didn't have a massive following. I didn't even have an Instagram page when I first started, but I did have 10 years of business experience. I had built 3 different 7-figure organizations. I had been a 10-time national champion in martial arts. So like I did have what most would say, some of the accolades and like some of the expertise.
You had the credentials basically.
Credentials, right?
Yeah.
But I had no Instagram following.
Got it.
And so
online was new for you to navigate as well.
Totally. And so I actually struggled with it for 2 years. I really wanted to make a difference for people. I was feeling called to serve people, move into the coaching space and move online, not because I needed to make money. Like I said, I'd already built successful businesses and organizations, but I just really love it. And I tried to do it on my own in a crowded marketplace, and Mark, I made $2,000 in my first 2 years.
Wow.
So anyways, you asked, what do we help people do?
Right.
We help the true experts with real passion that actually know how to make a difference in people's lives, establish an authority online in a crowded marketplace, even if they have a small following.
And what's one of the ways that you actually go about doing that? Is it content? Is it live streams? Is it interviews? Is it books? What are they doing?
Well, the first thing I had to figure out is I was trying to serve everybody. Okay. And the reality is...
Which is common. A lot of people are like, well, this is good for everybody. And it's like, it might be. You might not be wrong, but why is that maybe a mistake?
When you try and speak to everybody, you're not connecting with anybody. And especially online, right? Like we've already alluded to a bunch of times, it's a noisy marketplace. People are just scrolling. Right?
Right.
And so if it looks or feels just like anything else out there, people want something that connects with them these days on social media. And so if it feels generic, people just scroll right past
So maybe an example in the fitness space would be somebody says, hey, here's some quick ways that you can lose 10 pounds.
Right.
That might stand out and resonate, but it wouldn't be as good as saying, hey, if you're a newborn mom with your first child and you're tired, exhausted, and it seems difficult to eat healthy and get in shape.
Sure.
Here's 7 things you can do as a new mom staying at home without having to change your diet and being able to fit it in between those baby naps.
Yes.
That would be like so specific.
Yes.
So you're saying that is a helpful alternative to be more niche.
One of the things that I had to figure out for myself that we now help others do is niche down in 90. Like how within 90 days can you understand who you're speaking to in a way they understand what we call the 4 Ps, right? What person are you actually trying to speak to so you're not trying to just help anyone and everyone lose 10 pounds.
And is it okay to have more than maybe one person? Or do you just make them disciplined to choose that one person to start?
It's okay to have more than one person, but as far as like the message you're trying to put out there, we want to help somebody feel like they're talking to one individual. So like with my Health and Wealth Academy, my actual peak performance program, when I was struggling to connect with people, even though I knew I could help people, I was trying to speak to anyone that wanted to lose weight. And then I niched down in 90 days and I started writing all of my messages, all of my content, as if I was talking to a guy named Josh.
Got it.
I understood Josh.
That was your avatar.
Yeah, like I understood him as a person, but I understood what problems Josh has.
Got it.
Which means I could make genuine and authentic promises to him, and I had a process to help him. We call it 4 Ps.
And so even though my name might be Jim, if I'm scrolling on social media, Josh sounds a lot like my situation, and so I'm going to gravitate towards your message or content.
Yes, and so we help them stand out, even if they have a small following, because we help them connect more deeply and go deeper instead of wider. Sure, if you have 2 million Instagram followers already,
it's just a numbers game.
Yeah, like I can help you lose 10 pounds, and somebody's going to find you and want to pay you.
Because out of 2 million people, if 2,000 say yes, it's still a lot. You could probably be semi-successful.
Exactly, even though that's actually like 0.1% of whatever.
Right. So you're basically saying, I'll help you maybe just get those 2,000 people.
Yeah.
So you only have 2,000 followers, but they're all Josh's, your avatar.
Yes.
And so, it's like, I'd rather have a diehard small community than millions of wishy-washy people who may not be the right fit.
And the generalists aren't the ones getting paid the most, right? It's the specialty surgeons that are getting paid more for their time. And so we help these experts as they move online, niche down in 90 in a way that creates instant authority, but not instant authority as like they're a celebrity online for everybody.
Right, because you don't jump to celebrity status or true expert status, but you can be a specialist just by changing the messaging is what you're saying.
And they become a niche expert, right? Instead of just having a weight loss program for all men and women. They have a weight loss program for women, but then they have a weight loss program for moms. They have a weight loss program for working moms, right? So on and so forth.
And keep niching down.
Yeah, and we niche down to 90.
That's like the old saying, the riches are in the niches.
Sure.
And it may not always be the case. If you look at like the industry leaders, the Walmarts, they don't niche down.
Sure.
But again, there's only one monopoly at the top of the Walmarts or the Amazons. And so when you're small and you're nimble and it's just maybe you working from home with a laptop and a phone, niche down, find your avatar and your niche. So in 90 days, you can get specific. So then that's going to tailor the content. You got something to add.
Yeah. And Mark, I realized I was onto something because like I said, I didn't pick this up easily. I wasn't the person with a massive following. I struggled for 2 years. But when I realized I was onto something with like niching down in 90 and being the authority to your specific niche instead of trying to serve everybody was this. I had this belief that you needed all those credentials and celebrity like following to have anybody want to work with you.
And a lot of people feel that way because I think there's like an industry coined term, imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
I'm just a stay-at-home mom. Who am I to give advice? Maybe I've done a little bit, but compared to all these people, you compare yourself, who am I? And so you kind of like almost beat yourself up a little bit.
And people said I had the credentials, and yet I still felt deep down inside that imposter syndrome that you're talking about because I found myself comparing to others. And so I was in this mastermind, and one of my accountability partners was a Ohio State Hall of Fame athlete, the all-time winningest male Olympic gymnast on the rings, like highly competitive, had what most would consider like the perfect physique for social media. He was a gymnast.
Right, so it's an all-star.
I was convinced that this guy's obviously going to be making more money than me. He's going to attract clients so much easier than me. And when I realized I was onto something is we were all sharing like how our businesses were doing. We're giving updates in the mastermind.
Right.
And it was his turn to share. I was convinced he was going to be doing more in revenue. And he shared his revenue. I was like, wait a second. I'm doing more in revenue than he is.
Got it.
And that's when I started to realize it's not only about the massive followings and the perfect pictures on social media, if you understand how to niche down and establish instant authority.
And I love that because engagement is the key metric that so many people look at and think, wow, they have so much engagement and followers, they must be coming to the conclusion that they're successful.
Yeah.
But engagement doesn't equal sales.
No.
Engagement doesn't equal conversions.
Yep.
And so I love that you're saying this. Something else that I think you've done a really good job with is finding other businesses and other talent to be able to kind of go in and leverage some of maybe the business they've already built or the talent in the audience they've already built. Because like you said, if somebody already has the business infrastructure or the audience and they're not making as much as you can kind of come in, partner with them, or even maybe buy their business. And you can grow it. Talk about that because you've been doing this lately.
Yeah, so I built my peak performance business and a lot of other like fitness trainers and nutritionists started asking me like, Mike, how are you doing? So we launched a program called Passion to Profits, which gave them the exact systems that we used to get clients, get them to stay, and build a business that's predictable and sustainable and actually scalable.
Almost like a franchise. They're buying a proven business template.
Exactly, exactly. Especially specifically, again, I'm practicing what I preach, like niche down for people that don't have a massive following necessarily and want to stand out. But then what you're referencing from like the first 10 or 15 years I had in business experience, I wanted to grow. And I wanted to grow fast, but I wasn't on like the level one mindset of like, if I want to grow, I just have to work 80 hours a week, or I have to hustle and grind.
In order to grow, I have to do everything all over again.
Yeah, like the book Who Not How, right? Like who can I connect with? Who has the audience I want? A bunch of my buddies are in M&A and mergers and acquisitions. I've gotten into different investments, and so my mindset was, how can I grow and grow fast? And how can I take the system that we have and start to apply it with real estate investors who want to teach their industry, with marketing experts, with business coaches, with sales trainers. And so we started.
The model is able to carry over, not just in the industry that you're in.
Totally. And so over the last 16 months, we've grown through also not just my own programs, but through acquisition of other, like what others would consider like competitors in the space. And we've able to roll them up into our Champ Dev system. And it's now allowed us to serve and scale our system to many different industries.
So an example would be at an extreme level where like you hear Facebook bought WhatsApp. Or something extreme like that. It's like, well, there's a bunch of people already using that, and I think there might be some synergy between our business and that. Rather than reaching out and saying, I think we should do business, I'm going to buy your business and roll it up under mine, and then I can make decisions without having to even run it by you because I just bought you. And so, you know, that's kind of like level 2 and level 3 thinking in business. Level 1, as you were talking about, is kind of like, I have to build the business. I have to do the work. Maybe I have 1 or 2 employees, but it's scary to think of 10 or 20 or 100. Level 2 thinking is like, someone already built the business.
How can I partner?
How can I partner with them? How can I use the bank's money to buy this company or whatever? There's a lot of creative ways. How can I buy the company with no money down and just pay the owner a distribution? So that's a really cool mindset shift. And I know that that's helped you guys grow really quick. So bringing it back to like the everyday person who might be watching this, and that might seem like an extreme thing for them to do. Let's go back to the thing that we were talking about earlier, which is, what holds most people back, and even you said limited you for a while, and that's the stories that we tell ourselves. So could you talk to that? Like when you're working with just business owners or even coaches who want to get into this space and grow, and they're just a solopreneur, what is that? What does it mean to tell ourselves stories? How does that either inspire us to achieve more and create our dream life and impact more of our community in the world? Or how does telling ourselves stories actually limit us and hold us back, whether you want to use yourself as an example or not?
Well, Mark, you totally get this already. Like all the strategy in the world is important and is great. But if we have a story that we're telling ourselves that's disempowering, it'll dictate the expectations that we have of ourselves. And we don't get in life, at least what I have found, we don't get in life what we just say we want or jump up and down and say affirmations.
Or it's on our vision board.
Like we put it on a vision board. We get in life what we truly expect, based on our identity, based on the skills we've developed. And so what we work with people on, or what we found to be some of the most common, you already touched on one, was the imposter syndrome part. Right? Like, who the heck am I?
Who am I? I don't feel worthy. Look at all these other people. And that ties into the comparison game as well.
Totally. And we believe when you start to compare, you start to focus on what you're not. But I believe in a phrase, compete, don't compare. When you compete, you might look ahead and see other people are beating me, bigger than me, making more money than me. But you look at others ahead of you from a place of saying, how can I get better? What can I learn from them? Compete, don't compare. When you compare, you start to focus on what you're not. I'm not good enough.
There's really no benefit to comparing. But there's a lot of lessons and benefits and progress to competing.
Exactly.
Got it.
And so we take the imposter syndrome and the stories someone's telling themselves of, I'm not a real expert. Yeah, I'm not a real expert to the entire world. I'm not Oprah yet. That doesn't mean you can't be an expert to your niche. Doesn't mean you can't impact and serve a couple dozen or a couple hundred people and then stack and compound on top of that.
It's like the... which I know there's like a double-sided sword to this conversation, but it's like, I only need to be 1 or 2 chapters ahead to be able to help you. It's like in school, the teacher is teaching right out of the book, and they seem so smart because they've already read the book.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that they're actually a business expert, even though they're teaching a business class. They just read the book already. and so they seem like, oh, well, they already know all the answers. Yeah, it's because they read the book. And so that's basically what you're saying is you don't have to be a true industry expert. I hate to say you don't have to have the results because I feel like you should.
A level of results are important.
A level of results are important before you're going to have, I think before you're going to charge people for advice. I think it's okay to give advice, make your disclaimers and tell people.
Well, you either have results with others or if you have results with yourself. One of the two is important.
Yeah.
I think sometimes in our industry,
especially before you charge people for any given advice.
Totally. And I think sometimes in our industry, there's this little bit of knocking like, you haven't done blank. How the heck are you helping others?
Right. That's why I said it's like a fine line because sometimes the industry is,
that's like saying Phil Jackson was never the greatest basketball player of all time. How dare he coach Michael Jordan?
Right. And I love that example. That's perfect.
Yeah. He has great experience in leading teams and helping others bring out the best in them. Does that mean he had to be the GOAT of basketball? To pass down his influence to the next GOAT of basketball? No, not really. But do I think you need results with others or results with yourself? Absolutely.
He didn't prove to be the best basketball player himself, but he proved that he could train the best teams and organizations.
Sure. Absolutely. So that's the first thing. Like a lot of people have a story that I'm an imposter. The other story is oftentimes like, I'm not good at sales. I'm not good at marketing.
Or I feel weird selling people. Yeah. Telling yourself that is not going to help you sell more.
Totally. And my mom's a teacher. My dad was a computer engineer. I worked at Pizza Hut before I ever got into business. It's not like I was super shy before I ever really got into business. So it's not like I had built-in confidence that like marketing, entrepreneur, sales is something that I would be good at.
Yeah, and being an introvert, you tell yourself all these stories.
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
Well, they're gonna judge me, or I shouldn't speak up, or I have nothing to contribute, so I won't say anything. And all of those little things, like as an introvert, if you tell yourself those stories, you're never gonna be on TV. You're never gonna go out and inspire people and build a team. So the stories introverts tell themselves is different than I'm sure you tell yourself.
Yeah.
You can shift gears. You can go introvert and extrovert.
Totally. And the reason we called the program Passion to Profits is because I really do believe some of the greatest experts in the world and have a passion to really serve others are oftentimes the introverts that don't see themselves as naturally good at sales or couldn't jump on social media right away. So we want to give them a system that allows them to take their gifts and take their passion that's in alignment with like who they are. Because I was the shy person getting on social media myself, but also do it in a way that now leads to, yes, an incredible income in their business. Yeah. We've generated millions of dollars now building a business like this, but also most importantly, the most fulfilling part is the impact that we now help those people have in others' lives. We teach them what we call the Harvard Effect coaching system, which essentially positions them as the true authority they are, which removes the need to feel salesy, right? Harvard rarely, I would imagine, feels like they have to go hard pitch somebody to come to Harvard
But University. A lot of it is just in the positioning.
Exactly.
And so you're saying you help them position themselves accordingly so that it doesn't feel like they're selling, but rather it's an invitational, maybe even application process just to make sure that you're the right fit.
We teach them the exact messaging for their content, the exact positioning for their application. We actually call it an application process, not a sales process. And then we teach them an actual enrollment system, which still leads to high-paying clients that stay. Tell everybody about you, right? But it establishes you as an instant authority and draws and creates attraction and attention with the people you're actually meant to serve.
I love it. It reminds me of the part of what you said, the Jeff Bezos Amazon model, where he's like, customer service is number one, because the one thing I think a lot of people will say about Amazon is it's so easy. They have every product possible. Returns are easy, shipping's easy. They also, if you do Prime, you get all this other stuff. So it's like they make it so good that like everyone tells, I use Amazon. Oh, I just ordered the thing. Amazon. My wife, hey, we need more of this. 2 seconds later, bought it. Amazon. And so you're basically saying people will bring you more of their customers. They'll tell your friends. They'll tell their friends and family and colleagues who you're working with, what are you using, and they'll refer. But something that I think you mentioned that was important was sales. Most people you were telling about your process. Most people are limited in their ability to feel like they can go out and get more sales. And you were saying your process helps. But let's talk about the mindset of the sales, because most people, they're not a salesperson. They feel weird selling. They tell themselves stories around, I'm not good at selling. And so, of course, then they're going to show up really weird on the phone, or I'm really good talking with people about what we do, but when I have to ask for the money, I feel so weird. So how can we address that? Because I know as an introvert, you must have gone through that yourself. So how can we help the people listening right now who are maybe in that same phase?
It all strings together back to niche down in 90.
Got it.
Right? If you're not trying to sell to everybody because you've niched down,
Right.
you eliminate a lot of that neediness of like, I need to sell to everybody, which then pairs into our Harvard effect coaching system, which now has more of an application process type of feel, right?
Got it.
It's kind of like Harvard. Literally, you could be in the admissions office. Just because a multimillionaire walks in with his son and says, I want my son to go to school here and I'll
Here's
pay
the
in
check.
cash. Right? I always joke, unless it's like some corrupt admission officer's like, yeah, throw some cash over here, I'll get him in. Chances are the admissions office would say things like, what? Well, has your son filled out an application yet? What did he get on his ACTs or SATs?
Have they had their interview process?
Yeah. Does he want to go to school? Let's feel out if it's even a fit. Your son might be the valedictorian of his school, but he might actually be a better fit for NYU.
Right.
Stanford, et cetera, Princeton. Let's see if he's actually a fit for us as well. And so we teach a similar type of model that, yes, you might get a bunch of applications, but the feel we want our students to take on, instead of feeling salesy and shy and scared, I need to ask for money, is more of like a, Mark, listen, I know I can help you.
Let me just make sure you're a fit.
Yeah. I just want to ask you a couple questions.
Yeah.
So I'm not wasting your time. I'm not wasting my time. I don't want to take a dime of yours if I truly don't believe I am the absolute best fit to help you.
Right.
What does that do with a client? Establishes trust. Like, wow, this guy's not trying to just sell me.
Right.
Establishes credibility. Like, he really believes and really cares in what he does. And it creates alignment. Let's feel this out together. And it puts client and entrepreneur kind of on like equal playing ground, instead of like, I'm trying to sell you, I'm trying to pitch to you, which can feel a little slimy, sleazy, or out of congruency for a lot of people moving online.
Yeah, I love that because it drops the guard of both people. The sales rep's not coming in with this energy of, I got to sell this person, I got to get the energy, and I have to posture myself a certain way. And again, we've read all the sales books. And so, you know, we know all the different tactics, and some of them can serve people well, and not all sales things are slimy. Not all sales tactics are negative. But there's definitely a fine line between using tactics and serving people, selling someone versus serving someone. And so your process is more, here's how you can show up and here's how you can serve better.
And then not only are we going to serve better, but by knowing we're bringing the right person in, we teach a system that allows people to keep clients for life.
Got it.
Right. I mean, you were talking about like the MYC squared, like the multi-year client creator. Because one of the problems with business, not just coaching, is that like revolving door feeling of marketing, get clients, client leaves, oh my gosh, I need new clients. And
the turnover is insane.
Every month, every quarter, it can look exciting, like, oh, that guy's making blank.
Right.
But the stress sometimes under the surface, if someone's getting this wrong, is, oh my gosh, I need to get X number of clients again next month just to cover payroll. That's a stressful way to grow the business. So for me, I got to the point after about 6 months of finally getting my actual coaching business off the ground, and I realized that's not how I want to build this business. My first 3 7-figure businesses in my 20s were built in a way that were built to last. Like still do 7 figures in production today with or without me. And so after 6 figures of launching my coaching business, I realized that's not how I want to build the business. I don't want the stress of, oh my gosh, I need clients every single month just to pay the bills. New clients, right? But that's one of the biggest like myths or beliefs that people have in this industry is I need new clients. And it leads to a revolving door feeling. And so the biggest pivot or biggest shift that I took that we also help our students with is how to lay out, if I truly am working with my niche, I'm the expert, how do I lay out a roadmap, a curriculum where not only are students going to get better results and true transformation and long-lasting results, whether it's weight loss, whether it's how they build their business, whether it's relationships, whether it's investing. Like, not like I bought a house, but then like I didn't really know what to do after that. Like I became a financially free investor because of blank, or I lost 30 pounds and kept it off permanently, or I built a business to 6 figures a month and it kept growing. So we teach our students how to keep clients for life. Like,
which is incredible. That's
multi-years.
That's the difference between the transactional business on a transaction value. The customer buys my one product. They have the product. See ya. I need to go get another transaction and get another customer. Lifetime value of a business is the customer buys the product and then gets taken care of so well that either they stay on a subscription or they continue to buy more products of yours or more products that you maybe are affiliated with, partner with, like you acquire another business, you have more products to suggest. So I love that model because customer lifetime value, customer relationships is really how you're going to have a sustainable long-term business. Because if you're in the business of always having to run a new campaign, make a new pitch, get a new customer, I don't know what the stat is, it changes all the time, but it's like 500% easier to get one of your existing customers to buy another product from you than to have to go get a new person that you don't know, don't trust, don't have a relationship. Here's my product, here's my ad, you should buy. So I love that model because it's easier to get your clients to stay if you serve them, if you take care of them. And so that's really your guys' focus.
And I don't know if it was like my Asian heritage and my Asian upbringing or like what I mean by that is like loyalty and family being important. But I've just always been the type that wants to play something for the long game. And when I got into the online industry, I just felt like there was so much strategy out there about how to just get more clients faster, but that was it. And so for me, it was really important, like if I'm going to be in it for the long game, I want to really build a business that is predictable and sustainable and scalable. And so it comes back to like, for me, I had a pretty bad injury at the end of last year. Or earlier this year, as you know, my dad passed. And sometimes life happens, right?
It's inevitable.
Inevitable. The way I think the industry is being taught to get clients here is like, if something like that happened, it would be so scary.
Right, if you're all of a sudden not able to show up in your business, is it going to keep making money without you? You don't really have a business by my definition if it doesn't work without you.
And I felt so grateful and so fortunate during times like that, that I could send a Slack message or text my team, and literally within the span of a message, the business continued to run. And because of the way we retain clients and the way we build that out, have multiple six figures in recurring revenue already as a foundation before we even bring on a single new client going into the next month.
Right, which is incredible to have those systems in place and the peace of mind that you get as a business owner. We've already talked and alluded to a lot of different parts of your journey and your story, but just one of the kind of things I want to know is in your journey, did you always know you wanted to be an entrepreneur? Was it in your blood? Because I think some people watching, they kind of feel like some people say you were born an entrepreneur, right? And other people are like, I don't think I was. I was actually going to be a lawyer or a doctor or go the corporate ladder. So did you always know entrepreneurship was the route for you, or did you kind of stumble into it? Just share in a nutshell.
I'm smiling and I'm laughing because, well, one, we've already referenced like imposter syndrome. And I've watched you on this show with so many incredible entrepreneurs.
Billionaires and celebrities have all sat right where you're sitting.
Who have come before me. And so it's kind of crazy for me to even be here answering this question. So to answer your question, the answer is simply no, but I've alluded to like my Asian upbringing. And so I thought I'd go to school, go to college. I went to GW in DC and get a really good job. I told you earlier, like I was working at Pizza Hut as like my last real job before I got into business. So no, I had no intention or desire to get into business. What basically, simple story, what ended up happening is in college, my mom's a teacher. I needed to make some extra money during the summer, what I call now beer and gas money. And so I was like, during the summer, I was like, I need to make more money. And I could have kept working at Pizza Hut, but they only had like one extra shift available for me, 4 hours. I mean, like 20 extra.
So you're always limited. At a job for the most part, theoretically, especially at a job like Pizza Hut.
And so I walked into a direct sales interview during my summer, and that was my first exposure to like entrepreneurship, going into customers' homes, selling a product.
It's so funny how so many salespeople, or I shouldn't say salespeople, so many business people started in sales.
In sales in some way, shape, or form. And I remember I told my parents I was going to get into sales. Like, you are going to sell stuff? They knew how shy I was. They knew how quiet I was. And so I actually stunk at that too when I first started. I find like my persona is I'm actually kind of like not so good at things when I first start, but I'm like committed. I'm going to figure it out, and then I'm going to get really good at it.
And that's a lesson in itself right there. Is, you don't have to be good or naturally gifted at something. You just persevere, never give up, find great mentors, educate, fail tremendously until you eventually succeed. That's kind of the formula.
Mark, I was the awkward athlete in high school. I was 4'11" in high school, trying to make the varsity basketball team. So when I say like I was not naturally good at things at first, but like I will keep working at things to figure them out. So whether it was my coaching business, 2 years I made $2,000 until I figured it out, or got into sales, kind of stunk at it. No, I didn't ever see myself getting into business or getting an entrepreneurship. But then from that sales job, it finally exposed me to what like I think we would call personal development. Right. And I fell in love with it. I wanted to get so much better.
And performance. If you sell more, you make more. And I think once entrepreneurs kind of get that, wait a minute, I get the hit. If I work smarter and better, I can earn more. And now my earning ability is not limited by perhaps the hours in my schedule.
And that tapped in to the one thing that I truly felt at that time in my life, I worked hard at and got really good at. Like the whole imposter syndrome thing at 19, 20, mid-20s, if there's one thing I could have said, no, I know I'm really good at it, was karate and martial arts. And entrepreneurship tapped into that, right?
Got it.
Like karate and martial arts is an individual sport. You get into a ring and fight by yourself.
And so much of it is discipline and mindset and showing up and accountability and lots of failing. And failing in that context is getting punched in the face and getting back up. So there's so many great correlations between sports, or in this case, martial arts as well.
And so even though the actual like craft of entrepreneurship and sales was not something I ever thought I would get into, nor was it something I ever thought I'd be good at, I was able to kind of draw on the strength of.
It was almost a natural progression, so to speak.
Yeah.
So one of the final questions I'm kind of curious about is like, a lot of people, they're either thinking, I am a business owner. Should I stay in the business I'm in because maybe times in the world have changed? Should I pivot? And then another question to go off of that is people who aren't in business yet, they might be thinking, I lost my job, or there's so much opportunity. I see teenagers making millions and I'm 50 with all this experience and I'm struggling to pay my mortgage, which is just crazy, right? That we live in a world with so much opportunity, yet so many people maybe haven't capitalized on it yet. So one, people in business, how important is it for them to be able to let go and pivot? And then on the other side of that, for people who aren't in business yet, is there ever a perfect time to get into business?
Well, of course, there's not a perfect time. And I don't think there's generic answer to give to anyone and everyone.
Right.
Because like when you say.
Without context, it's difficult.
Yeah, like I don't know where your business is at. I don't know if it's brand new or if it's scaling or if you have a team or you're by yourself. But in general, do I think this is an incredible time to be online? Sure. Right? Of course, it's a great time to be online. Do I think people need to have the ability to think ahead and pivot by asking themselves questions? Because sometimes we get really comfortable with where we're already at. And so we don't slow down to continue to get clarity on like, where do I really want my life to be 3 years from now, 5 years from now?
They're so stuck on the hamster wheel of just the day-to-day.
Yeah. And so that's something I like to have myself and our communities do every 90 days. Right, really assess where are things now, where did I say I want it to be 1, 3, and 5 years from now, and what's most important to me. You and me were talking about this.
Right,
like, At one point you thought, I just want to be the face of every business.
Right.
I need all of that, but really at the end of the day, you and I both have had kids in the last year, 2 years, right? Sometimes you start to realize what's actually important to me right now. Maybe I care more about freedom now. Maybe now is a season of my life where I am willing to hustle and grind because I value making more money right now. And so to answer your question, I think the most important answer to the question is actually a set of questions. And that is, where do I want to be 3 to 5 years from now? Where do I want to be 1 year from now? And for me to build momentum towards that vision, towards that dream, where do I need to put my time and focus? Because we have a limited amount of time. We have a limited amount of focus. Where do I put my time and focus for the next 90 days? And that'll answer the question for people.
I love it. So people are inspired. Maybe on one side, they just want to follow your journey because you're obviously filled with wisdom. So maybe that's social media. But then on the other side, people might be like, this guy seems like he's got some really powerful ways to maybe help me grow my business or show the foundational first steps to starting an online business. So in both of those contexts, is there a place that people can reach out to you, learn more about your businesses, and follow you online?
Yeah, I mean, you go to our company website, champdev.com. But where I'm actually most active is you go to my Instagram or my Facebook. You go to Instagram, type Mike Chu, and I think you'll find me. There's a lot of Mike Chus in the world. I always joke there's I think like 1 billion Michael Chus in the world, but you type Mike Chu on Instagram and you'll find me.
Cool, love it. Appreciate you for coming on the show, brother.
Appreciate you, Mark.
Thanks so much.
For having me.
If you want more episodes like this, head over to businessrockstars.com.